G'day to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. It's late afternoon on a Friday. I've been home, played with the grandkids, and thought it'd be a good idea just to go for a bit of a bushwalk to chill out and run us through a book summary. And the book summary that I've selected for today, for this walk and talk, is entitled Un-F-U *K Yourself, Un-F Yourself by Gary John Bishop. It's one of the many books that you see these days with these expletives, but I do enjoy reading them because they all have something to offer, and this book was very, very interesting and quite powerful indeed. So the author kicks off the book making a very interesting and bold statement, saying that you have the life that you are willing to put up with. What a beautiful, beautiful quote. What a very profound sort of statement. So we all have the life, according to the author, that we're willing to put up with. So something to think about. Really, really interesting. Really, really powerful, I'd say, because it gets us to be a little bit more introspective and to think, what am I doing? What am I allowing in my life to make it the way it is? And what could I do a little bit differently to make my life potentially a little bit better? So the author then goes on to talk about rules and regulations and all the things that we have in our lives to manage and monitor what we do. And he said rules often work best for those who are risk averse. Now this is a powerful point as well. Rules work best for those who tend to be risk averse. Because what is right and what is wrong, it all depends on what we're willing to accept, and our worldview, I guess, is one way of putting it as well. And he said that a lot of our principles are inherited from when we're very, very young. So the principles, the rules that we have, the way that we think, our worldview is in many ways inherited from a very young age, and it's inherited from people in our families. But the author says that a lot of the things that we learn from a very young age, yes, are good and work for us, but there are other things that work against us. So at some point in our life, we need to reflect and review our rule sets, our principles, our guiding principles, and everything that makes us tick. Because there are some things, and we all have these things, there are some things that we simply need to outgrow. Things that we need to grow and to expand and to move on from. Because what happens is our subconscious, according to the author, is responsible for 95% of our thoughts. And that in itself means that there's a lot of stuff in there that we've inherited, we've taken on without too much thought, and it may be time to start clearing things out so that we can be a little bit more productive and freer in our lives. The author goes on to say that we basically need to control our subconscious as best we can, or at least partner with it, and not to fight it, but to partner with it, but to try and leverage it and to try and shape it in a way that will give us an opportunity to live a better life and to enjoy the path that we choose to take in our lives. So once again, the author reminds us that we all have a cycle of repetitive thoughts, repetitive questions, repetitive sort of statements that we make to ourselves, and it shapes our view. So we need to question a lot of the times what these things are and whether or not they serve us or work against us. So the author's first formal point is that we need to choose impossible and seize opportunities. The things that we once saw as impossible, we need to seize those. We need to choose the impossible and to bend and stretch ourselves to be better, bigger, and more interesting. And the author says that it's important that we live or love to learn to lean just outside our comfort zones, because the wow in the world happens just outside our comfort zone. So we need to try and push ourselves, lean, do whatever we have to do to get to that wow zone. So it's important, according to the author, to define our goals, prioritize our goals, but not to postpone our goals. We need to be specific in what we're chasing and what we can see, so that you can smell it, you can taste it, you can feel it, and it becomes very real to you. And not to be trapped or limited by our mind games. Our mind is very, very powerful, and it can work for us and it can work against us. So what the author here is saying is that we need to be careful that we don't get trapped by our mind games. We don't get disadvantaged. We don't get tricked. So there is a call to action there to do things and to do more of it. And the other call to action is a powerful one as well, and it's not to get trapped or not to overinvest in security, trying to be too secure, because we need to chase the unreal. We need to chase the seemingly unattainable, and we need to be comfortable and chase uncertainty, because at the end of the day, there's no such thing as certainty. All the things that you feel and think are certain, there will come a day where they will become uncertain, and then you'll be scratching your head saying, geez, I thought that was a fixed sort of item in my life and it was pretty well guaranteed, but it ends up just evaporating and disappearing, and it was just a figment of your imagination. It was just a concept which disappeared. So we need to embrace, this is a very, very powerful point. We need to learn to embrace whatever comes our way, and to learn how to surf the many waves that come pumping into the shore through our lives, to learn how to surf those waves and to understand that the waves will come in sets and then they'll disappear, then they'll come again, they'll be different sizes, they'll be different sort of breaks, they'll be coming in from different angles, but we need to position ourselves to make the most and do the most of those waves when they start forming and start coming into our lives. The second formal point to come from this author is where he says that we need to enjoy the journey as much as you enjoy achieving your goals. And we don't need to fight life. A lot of people go through life fighting their friends, fighting their parents, fighting their relatives, fighting this, fighting that, and anti everything. Somebody says it's white, they'll say it's black. You know, it's just bloody painful and doesn't really add much value to our lives. So the key point that the author is saying here is that we shouldn't be fighting our life. We should acknowledge, rebalance, adjust, and just get on with it. You know, adjust to the challenge and just deliver. Just do what you have to do. And another key point for a lot of people of my age group, the baby boomers, is that we should not postpone our happiness. And the same thing goes for everybody. You have an opportunity every moment of the day, every day of our life, everything you do, to experience happiness. So what the author here is saying is, don't postpone your happiness to when you achieve certain goals, because those goals may not come. They may not come your way. So the message is very, very simple, loud and clear. Don't postpone your happiness to another day. Try and live it on a daily basis, because we need to be able to enjoy the journey rather than wait for a destination in order to celebrate our lives. The other thing that the author talks about, which is really important and interesting, is that we don't need to cling on to expectations and to stick to what we think is going on, but simply to seize the now and make the most of the now, and turn it into a 10 out of 10 by just adding and being innovative and constructive in what we do and how we do it. Because failures, at the end of the day, for some people, failure awakens self-destructive emotions. And we need to fight this process. We need to learn to not submit to these self-destructive emotions and to find peace in everything we do and everywhere we go. So the last point to come from this author, and I think I better turn back now because it's getting a bit dark, so I'll head back. The last point to come from this author is that we don't and we shouldn't blame others for our failures, and learn to take responsibility for each and every one of our decisions. Yes, it's important to get advice from people around you, but at the end of the day, the most important thing we need to understand and learn in our lives is that nobody that we know has been to the future. And everybody experiences a different past, present, and future. What may have worked for your parents, what may have worked for your uncle, what may have worked for your older brother, what may have worked for your boss, may not necessarily work for you. Each person needs to carve out their own niche, their own path, their own future, their own present, with the decisions and the actions that they take at every decision point. And along the way, we're going to have to accept failure. We're going to fall, we're going to learn, we're going to get up. What we need to do is to learn at every step of the way, and to fail productively is the point that the author makes. And to fail productively means to fail and to use it as a lesson for your next opportunity that comes your way. So the author here says that we always need to keep a foot in the past and a foot in the future. We can't just live constantly in the here and now, because we've come from the past and we're stepping into our future. So there needs to be a balance in our view, but we mustn't live in our past, because living in your past will make you depressed. Living in the past will make you yearn for things that will never come back again, for people, for things, for situations. And living sentimentally, whilst it's a beautiful feeling, won't get you anywhere, won't give you what you're looking for, because it's all gone, it's finished, it will never come back. And the last point, before I move on to the last point, the other thing is that we mustn't live in the future, too much in the future, because what happens if we live too much in the future is that we become anxious, we become worried about what the future holds, about the uncertainty of tomorrow. So there's a balance. Live a little bit in the past, a little bit in the future, but all, or the majority, in the here and now. Because the author here says and reminds us that we need the past in order to grow and develop, but it mustn't be there to hold you back and to hold you there. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club. I didn't go live today because I've upgraded my iOS, and what I've discovered is that with Facebook now, you can do a live video, but you're not allowed to save that live video to your camera reel or your storage. So what I'm doing now is I'm just taking a standard video, and then what I'll do is I'll upload it to YouTube, and then post the YouTube video to Facebook. I don't know if it's a problem with Facebook, but I've tried it on my wife's phone, I've tried it on my daughter's phone, and I've got the same issue. Something has changed, something has dramatically changed of late, which makes it a little bit harder. Anyway, take care everybody. I look forward to coming to you again from a different place with a different message of empowerment, where we can become partners in each other's growth and development, where we can live, learn and pass it on, and take an opportunity to incorporate OPE, other people's experience into our lives, and to build our inventory of skills and life hacks based on what we've learnt from other people. Yasas, take care, and I look forward to speaking to you tomorrow, Saturday. Don't know where I'll be, don't know what I'll be talking about, but hopefully we'll be able to learn and use it in a productive way. Take care and bye for now.